Hello good people, I'm going to talk about trigonometry and rounding. So we are given this triangle and we need to calculate the length of the hypotenuse, side C. We are given the lengths of the two other sides, 50 and 70 meters respectively. So as usual, I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem to solve this. So now I have 50 meters squared plus 70 meters squared equals c squared. 50 meters times 50 meters will give me 2,500 meters squared, plus 70 meters times 70 meters, well, that's 4,900 square meters. I'm going to add these two values together, and that will give me 7,400 square meters. Finally, I am going to take the square root of both of these sides, and that will give me 86.02 meters equals C. Now let's look at this triangle again. What are the measurements that have been given to us? Well, 50 and 70 meters. Each one of these values has only one significant figure. This means that the value for side C should also be expressed using one significant figure. That means we need to round. So if I'm going to express 86.02 meters using one significant figure, I will get 19 meters. Notice that we have introduced an error, and that is fine as long as we can trace the source of this error. In this particular case, the source is rounding. Now you might be asking yourself, why do we bother with rounding in the first place? Why are we so hell-bent on introducing an error? Well, that's because we do not know how these 50 and 70 meters have been measured. We do not know the accuracy of the instruments that were used to get these measurements. So we do not know if it's exactly 50, or maybe it was 50.5, or maybe it was 50.3, or maybe it was even 48 that was rounded to 50. Same thing with the 70. It could have been 73, it could have been 66. We just do not know. So we round to account for the inaccuracy of the measuring instrument. And that is what we have done here. We are not saying that the square root of 7,400 is 90. We are saying that it is 86.02, and now we have rounded it to 90. So that is one way that you can approach rounding. And within the scope of this course, this is perfectly fine. Now I'm going to show you a second, technically correct way of approaching rounding. We start the same way. We still have 50 meters squared plus 70 meters squared equals c squared. 50 meters times 50 is still 2,500 square meters. 70 times 70 is still 4,900 square meters. However, now I'm going to round at this stage, because this 2,500 comes from this 50-meter measurement. Remember, 50 meters squared is 50 times 50. So 50 has only one significant figure. That means that I need to express this 2,500 using only one significant figure. And that will give me 3,000 square meters. And I'm going to do the same thing to 4,900. The 4,900 comes from 70 times 70, and 70 has only one significant figure. So now I need to round my result to one significant figure. And that will give me 5,000 square meters. Alright, 3,000 plus 5,000 is 8,000 square meters. And that equals c squared. Again, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. In this particular case, the square root of 8,000 is 89.44 meters. However, 8,000 has only one significant figure. Therefore, my result should be expressed as a value with one significant figure. 89.44 rounded to one significant figure will give me 90 meters. So in this particular case, we end up with the same result. Depending on your numbers, this might not be necessarily the case, and that is fine. Once again, introducing these errors due to rounding is fine as long as we can trace the source of the error. Finally, I'm going to show you one more way of solving this problem and hopefully circumventing any confusion that might arise due to rounding. Again, our starting position is the same. 50 meters squared plus 70 meters squared gives me c squared. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides right now. So that means that on the left I will have a giant radical symbol, and beneath that I will have 50 meters squared plus 70 meters squared equals c. The reason I have only c now is because I have taken the square root of c raised to the power of 2, and that gives me c. Alright, and now you can use your calculator, because your calculator is smart enough to deal with this whole thing in one go. So let's do that. I'm going to press the radical symbol, and now I'm going to enter 50 squared plus 70 squared, and then I'm going to press equal. And that gives me 86.02. Well, it's 86.023 and so forth, but I'm just going to copy 86.02. At the end, I do the same analysis of significant figures that I have done previously. This entire calculation depends on values that have only one significant figure. Therefore, my result should be rounded to one significant figure. 86.02 meters rounded to one significant figure gives me 90 meters. So I can say that c, when rounded, equals 90 meters. In summary, whenever we round, we are introducing an error to our calculation. And that is fine as long as we can trace that error back to its source. That is all for now, and I will see you on the flip side.